Hello, everybody. My name is Diana, and I currently work in sales. One of the things that I constantly hear is that sales associates aren't trusted. And the reason for that is that people have this idea that salespeople are willing to say anything and everything in order to make a sale. And that is actually a really big shame because the most important part of being a salesperson is that you're actually trustworthy so that a customer trusts you. That is the most important part of that job. And the only way to really do that is to really take into account the values of the customer. And when you take account of those values, you can possibly build rapport. And when you build rapport, that can lead to trust. So now when there's trust between a customer and a sales associate, that leads to a better experience. So not only is the customer happy, but the sales associate is also happy. So we're going to start off with values. Cathcart points out 7 values that everybody relatively has. So we all have them to different degrees, but we all have generally these 7 values. The values are sensitivity, empathy, wealth, power, aesthetics, commitment, and knowledge. Sensitivity has to do with the physical experience of things, so how something tastes, what it sounds like, what it looks like, all those kind of things where it has to do with your senses. So that's what sensitivity has to do with. Empathy has to do with connecting with others. Wealth has to do with the actual value of a product. So does it help you save time and money? Is that worth it? So that's what wealth has to do with. Power has to do with the essence of actually being in control, of feeling favored. So like, being that VIP customer, that's what power has to do with. Aesthetics has to do generally more with beauty, so it's balance, order, and symmetry, but it actually also has to do not just with the physical aesthetics, but conceptual aesthetics. So we're talking about presenting things in a logical flow, so just having, a good chronological order that makes sense. The other one's going to be commitment. So that has to do just being attentive to, what a customer is connected to themselves to, so what they associate with. So commitment has to do with, let's say a customer is looking for a product, but they want something that is cruelty free. They are committed to cruelty free products, so products that don't harm animals in any sort of way. So that is their commitment. They want a product that is cruelty free, and that right there is their commitment. Knowledge is going to be a customer who just is that little sponge that loves to gain all the information in the world so that they feel like they have gained something that they can possibly share with others that, will progress their way of life in some sort of way. Now, the harder part is really trying to hone down on what these values are, because you really have to take the time to really get to know the other person, to really kind of get a feel for what they value. So it's not something you can do in 5 seconds, something that you really have to patiently try and do. What is actually a really big shame is that there is such a high focus on the closer mentality. So the mentality where, okay, there's a person, I'm gonna sell them something, they're gonna buy it, and that's great. They bought something, awesome. Moving on. So it's a shame that there's so much of that mentality. It is needed, but it shouldn't be so like 100% of the process. Ideally, it should be actually 50% closer and then 50% teacher. So it's a 50-50 split. The teacher mentality has to do with the caring side. So the part where you really care about the customer and you really want to find them that awesome product they really, really need, even if they don't really truly understand themselves what it should be. So it's basically just having a caring heart towards them, and really just caring for them as a person, as an individual, and caring for their goals in life. So ideally, yes, you want to be able to close that sale, but you also want to be able to have the sale process to be a caring process so that the customer doesn't feel awkward and neither do you. So it's a win-win. Once again, you have a happy customer and you have a happy sales associate. So now we're actually going to roll right into our quiz time. So there's going to be 2 questions and we're going to just jump right into it. So the first question is, which of these is not one of the 7 values? A is power, B is apathy, C is aesthetics, and D is sensitivity. So I'll give you 5 seconds to think that over. Okay, so the answer for this one was B, apathy. Apathy is not one of the 7 values. The one that is actually part of the 7 values is empathy. They both sound very similar, but they're very different. So on to question 2. What % closer and what % teacher should a seller ideally be? Okay, this one was a little easier. The answer for this one is that a salesperson should ideally be 50% closer and then 50% teacher. So ideally you want it to be half and half. So now that we've learned about the 7 values that everybody tends to have, we can go ahead and start talking about rapport. So rapport has 3 different states that you have to look out for in order to build that rapport. So Durkin states that those states are the physical state, the mental state, and the emotional state. So those are the 3 states. When it comes to the physical state, you have to really look at their posture, look at how, their body is moving, how they're saying things. So, what is the vibe that they're giving you? And then if you find yourself mimicking that vibe, that means that you are also comfortable, which is the place where you want to get. You want to make sure you have that comfort. The other one's going to be the mental state. So it has to do with finding things that both of you are mutually interested in, so building the bond through mutual interest, but also understanding that they are there for business. So yes, they can possibly be your friend, but they also have a problem that they're maybe kind of hoping that you can help them solve, and that you care enough to really help them solve the problem to the best of your abilities. That last one is going to be the emotional state. That one actually links back into the natural values, because it has to do with connecting over beliefs, values, and goals. So this is really about getting to know them, not just their values, but what do they really want in life? Like, do they want to have an exciting life? Do they want a life where they can just chill? What kind of life do they want, and what can you do to help them get closer to that style of life that they want, to that feeling that they want to get out of life? So what can you do to aid them in, their small goals or, anything like that? So once you've gone through what might be their values and you've gone into rapport, you've tried to build that, Smith actually says that opens up the door to trust. And this is the most important thing. So trust is where where's the difference between a just a regular salesperson and then a trustworthy salesperson who, a customer can count on. So there are 3 things that have to be done to stand out as a trustworthy salesperson. The first one is to be consistent, the second one is to be honest, and the third one is to be generous. So there's a breakdown for each of those 3. So when you're consistent, what that means is to do what you promised, follow through with that promise, and then be timely about it. So if I tell a customer that I'm going to go check in the back to see if they have a certain product that they're looking for, then I better go back there and check for that product and then figure out if we do or don't have it, and then tell them the result of what I found, and then do that all in a timely manner. Instead of having them wait there for 30 minutes and then be like, okay, where did she go? Did she forget about me? Oh, I guess I can't depend on her. It's like, you want to be dependable. You want to, be as swift as you can and also do it all in kindness. That second part is to be honest. The first bullet point is to be upfront about pricing. That is so important. I personally, when I go into the store and nobody's willing to tell me the price of anything, then I'm either thinking that I can't afford this, or I'm thinking that they think that I can't afford this, which then just makes me angry, and then I just don't want to buy anything because I feel insulted. So, be upfront about that. People want to know what things cost, and if you don't want to tell them, they're not going to trust you. Also, when they ask when they ask for comparisons between products, even if it's a product that's not your product from like your store, be honest about it. If you honestly have, a standing opinion, don't just say that your product is better because you want to make a sale. Be honest about it, because if they figure out the truth, they're never going to trust you if you lied to them, and then they're definitely not coming back to you, and that's just destroying any trust that you've possibly built. The other part to that is to answer questions to the best of your abilities. So if you know the answer, you go for it, you answer that question. If you don't know the answer, then you can be like, hey, I don't know the answer to that. I'm so sorry, but let me go ask my manager. Maybe they can, enlighten me, and then I can come back and tell you the answer. Or maybe you can just look it up. Do what you can to get them that answer, and also make sure it's in a timely manner as well. That third part was to be generous. So be generous with your time. Also give that amazing service, and then give wisdom in your department if they want it. Nobody's gonna invest their time in something that they don't care about. So you investing your time in a customer shows that you are in this. You are dedicated. You want to be a part of their life in that moment, right there and then. So that shows them that you're invested, that you really want to invest in this relationship that you're forming with them. And then as you're forming this relationship, you're showing that you're invested, give that amazing service. So go above and beyond and show them that you really care. Show them everything you can possibly do for them to make their day even better. And then if they ask for your advice in your certain area, department, you go for it. You tell them what you can tell them, so that it can possibly ease up their life, make their life a little bit easier. And if they want to take the advice, they will take it. If they want to leave it, they'll leave it. But at least you tried to, help out a little bit. And that's what really matters. So we have gone over the 3 different areas. So we went over the 7 values. We went over obtaining rapport, and then really getting a hold of that trust. It's all really hard. It honestly is a lot to take in, and it might sound easy to say it, and it might seem easy on paper, but as everything is happening, this is a lot to keep track of, and it's not something that as a person you're going to learn to do overnight. But I think what is really important is that even as a salesperson, to understand that you can try and use this method, but you won't always connect with everybody. It's just not possible. Sometimes, you can connect with somebody and somebody else can't, and sometimes it's the opposite. You can't connect with somebody, but somebody else can. You can't connect with everybody, but what you can at least do is try and be respectful about it. As a salesperson, honestly, my favorite part of the job is actually genuinely connecting with people. There is nothing more that I enjoy than finding a common interest with somebody and then having that conversation that, is real. You're genuinely interested, they're genuinely interested, and both of you are laughing and having a great time. That is what I live for. I live for those moments where it really feels like there's that real friendship kindling. And I've gotten to the point with some customers that I know them by name, or even if I don't know them by name, I know what they shop for every single time. So I go to them and they go to me, and it's we just know each other in a way where they trust me to show them what they really need, and I trust them for them to tell me what they're looking for. So it's open, and we're helping each other, and then we're having a good time. So then we both end up having a great experience, and that is what I really, really, really love. But I know I've been talking about sales this and sales that and sales associates this. But I think what the most important part to take away from this is that trying to see somebody's values and building that rapport and getting that trust is not something that you just have to do as a sales associate. This is like real life stuff. Anybody can, you meet people every day. You can make friends. And, this is a way to do it, to really be like, okay, this is what they value. Okay, this is what I'm, going to try and understand about them. This is what I'm going to try and appreciate and really try and just understand. Like, this is a part of them that I want to understand. Their top three or just, everything. And it's so important that you like know these parts of your friends or know these parts of people that you're trying to possibly start a friendship with, because if you're not going to care for their values, then what are the odds that you can really have that trust? So you have to really, get to know them and figure out what they value, and they have to get to know you and figure out what you value, and then you guys have to respect that. Even if you agree to disagree, whatever it is, respect that. And then from there, you can have that trust. And I think as people, we are always looking to have people that we know we can depend on. If something were to happen, okay, I can depend on this friend. I know they're going to listen to me. I know they're going to try and help me out. We all want dependable people in our lives. We don't necessarily want flakes. And this is a way to, really engage with somebody on another level and really form those deep friendships, get to know them and and have that beautiful trust where it's mutual. And there is honestly nothing better than having that mutual trust where you trust somebody and that they trust you, and you do it all with a caring heart, not because you're going to get something out of it, but because you truly care for this person and you know them for who they are. I think that is honestly the bigger takeaway from this. So that's basically what it is. Form those friendships and then have fun with those friendships and run wild with those friendships, because friendships should always be fun. They should never be boring, trust me. But thank you so much for listening, guys. And I hope you really kind of think about this in your life whenever you're making friends with other people. Thank you. Have fun, guys.